Holy mother of tips, dude. What? The turnaround on this is just incredible. You know what? I'm proud to have people drive behind me now. Something that's often neglected on your car are your exhaust tips, okay? And think about how often people are looking at the back of your car. Stuck in traffic, people are staring at your tips, okay? So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to clean your exhaust tips and even make them just a touch better by polishing them. Now, cleaning your exhaust tips is part of the sequence of cleaning your wheels and tires, your engine bay, and now we're into the exhaust tips. Now, you'll notice I'm not blasting the car down with water because I want to avoid getting water spots. So waiting to the last second of addressing water to your paint will allow you to keep your paint safe and void from getting water spots. So when you pick your pressure washer tip, you're gonna pick more of the 25 degree. That's the green tip that I have here. And the reason why it has a smaller fan. So first things first, you're gonna blast off your exhaust tips first to get any excess of the dirt and everything off. And you can see they're still very dirty. So what this is that exhaust residue, sort of carbon buildup on your exhaust. And the product that I like to use the best is Adams Polish's all-purpose cleaner, okay? This is just a degreaser. This really cuts through this exhaust residue. Listen, there's a lot of different exhaust tips out there. These are stock here, but you can also buy aftermarket exhaust. And I would just say, to err on the side of caution, only use all-purpose cleaner. You might be able to bump to tire and rubber cleaner. It's still gonna keep it nice and safe, but this is the most effective product for cleaning exhaust tips. Take this and you're gonna blast these down the best you can. And when you're cleaning exhaust tips, you use the same tools that you use when you're doing wheel cleaning. And actually, the spoke brush is my favorite tool to use while you're cleaning exhaust tips. So again, I just have the same water I have from cleaning my wheels. If your wheel cleaning water gets extremely dirty because your wheels were so dirty, pop the drain plug in the front, drain it out, refill it with some water so you're not using crazy dirty water. So spoke brush, I like to go in between the exhaust tips, around like so. And look, exhaust tips, you might be like, man, I don't know, I'm not gonna do that. Well, look, this process is so easy, you might as well do it anyways. And again, like we talked about before, think about how often people are seeing the back of your car, okay? But look, hopefully you have a fast car, so they only see it for a second and then you're gone. But cleaning exhaust tips is just, it's such a simple process, you might as well do it anyways, you know? Okay, so spoke brush, we're good there. Also take the trim and lug nut brush just to get a little bit more focused on these, and it's a little bit more stiffer brush, so you can actually do just a touch more work. And also, again, don't forget the underside as well. Same thing with the spoke brush. Another thing is, I have the spoke brush, right? Adams Polishes, I have everything, right? But if you have a angled wheel brush, it's very similar to the same type of brush. You can just hold this at the neck and do the same kind of work here, okay? The short handle of the spoke brush just gives me a little bit more of a good grip on it, so it feels a little bit easier to do. That's why I like to use the spoke brush the most. Okay, then we rinse it off. Now, when you're rinsing this off, what I want you to avoid is blasting straight into your exhaust pipe. Always keep this at an angle so the water isn't shooting deep into the exhaust. So okay, come check this out. Look how much we cleaned them, but this actually they need to be polished, okay? So these exhaust tips have been neglected for about 25,000 miles on this car. So it needs a little bit more work. If you do regular maintenance on your exhaust tips, this cleaning part is gonna make them look amazing. But I'd say maybe quarterly, you should break out your metal polish them down to make them look as good as possible, so cleaning them is just as easy the next time. And the metal polishing step we're gonna do next. Okay, we're done cleaning them. Now we get into the polishing step, and I'm just gonna flip my premium double bucket around just to have a little bit more clearance. That's one thing I do love about this bucket is, you know, keep one side with the lid on, nice soft lid. You can sit on it and do your work. So polishing exhaust tips, the best product for it is going to be our metal polish. Okay, we have a 2-step metal polishing system, metal polish 1 and then metal polish 2, and I like to use the gray microfiber applicator. Now I'm going to start with metal polish 1, so we'll keep metal polish 2. Now I will say this part of the process of getting your exhaust tips looking great, you don't need to do this right after you clean them. Okay, you can do this after you've washed your whole vehicle, you've dried it. It's better to do this when these are dry. So go through the rest of the process, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to show you polishing right now. So make sure you shake your metal polish, and actually, I accidentally have metal polish 2, so I'm going to switch back to metal polish 1. Go in sequence, 1 and 2. So pop the top. Could have a decent amount on here. I like to keep it on kind of 1/2 of the applicator, like that. Actually, I like to rub this in a little bit. Now, start polishing these exhaust tips, okay? So the thing about metal polishing is not necessarily how hard you press, but more how many times you go over the exhaust tips. Now I will say, Adams Polishes sells a micro polisher, and there's a extension wand to it, and that extension wand essentially turns into a Dremel tool. And on that Dremel tool, there's some cone polishing tips on there. If you have that, or if you're interested in that, polishing exhaust tips is so much easier. Just run that and you can just zip through this very easy. But if you don't, you can always do this process of doing it by hand. Now, as your metal polish starts to get a little bit more dry, add more to it. Now remember, this process isn't something you need to do every time, okay? I tend to do this quarterly, so, you know, every 3 months or so. Actually, like, I always do stuff like this after I've gotten the oil change on my car. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I should get my oil changed more often, but it's sort of a good gauge. It's like, it's sort of my indicator just personally in my life where, you know, get your oil changed. You know what, on this wash, I'm gonna clean the engine and the exhaust tips after I do my wheels. It's just a good sort of reminder of when you should be doing that. All right, after you do metal polish 1, you can leave that residue on there and you switch straight to metal polish 2. So same exact process here, which is just put some of the metal polish 2 onto the applicator, rub it in a little bit so it doesn't goop up everywhere, and then go into. The reason why you do metal polish 2 is it's the refinement step. It's gonna take the job that metal polish 1 did, and it's just gonna make it that much more glossy. So, and when you think about polishing, especially like the Adams Polishes polishing system, which is a 2-step system, you go from compound to polish. Compound does the heavy lifting of removing damage. Polish refines that to a perfect mirror. Same concept here. Metal polish 1 does a great job of removing cloudiness, you know, removing damage. And then metal polish 2 refines it, makes it look super glossy and amazing. So it's kind of the idea around this. The other thing I will say is, you know, when you're working with metal polish on metal, the metal polish oxidizes the metal, and you'll see a ton of dark gray or black come up in your applicator. So if you don't want to get your hands all dirty, wear some gloves while you do this. But listen, I have detailer's hands already, so listen, if they get a little bit discolored, no big deal. Okay, once you're done doing the metal polishing step, you're gonna take a towel. I have the borderless gray towel here, and then you're gonna wipe off the residue. Holy mother of tips, dude. What? The turnaround on this is just incredible. You know what? I'm proud to have people drive behind me now. Now for the sake of 50-50, so you can really see the work we did here, I'm gonna leave this one for now. I'm gonna have you guys come in here, check this out, see the difference we made between the two, and then I'll go on and finish the one on the right. The big difference I see here on these tips is the color change. The one on the right looks a little more yellow or orange, and the one on the left, after polishing it, really brings back not only the gloss, but the richness in that silver that the exhaust tip has. With just a couple steps from washing to polishing, these exhaust tips look amazing. Now, I will say this, if your exhaust tips have been neglected for longer and they look really bad, there's a tool you can use. You get it at the hardware store. It's called 4/0 steel wool, okay? It's hashtag or number sign in 4 zeros, okay? You can use that to really cut through heavy carbon buildup that you can't remove with metal polishing to do the heavy lifting off the bat, but make sure that you always finish it with the metal polish 1 and the metal polish 2. And now after I finish polishing the rest of these, I want to protect them, okay? Protecting them makes it easier to clean. It makes it so you don't have to do this metal polishing step as often. And so using ceramic coating is by far the best protection agent that you can use on your exhaust tips. So thank you for watching. Listen, get your tips right. People are driving behind you all the time. Make sure that when they see your exhaust tips, it blows their mind.